Hello, Heidi Lynn from Harnessing Life here. Today, I wanted to talk about setting boundaries. What are boundaries? I read a book one time and I really wish I remembered the name of the book so I could give it to you, but I don't, and I can't think of it. I don't even know when I read it, but it talked about boundaries, and I've remembered their description of what a boundary is, and I really liked it. I really wish I could remember who said it, but I don't. So it is a limit that promotes integrity. I love that because we have ideas for who we want to be and how we want to be, and when something happens that doesn't go along with those ideas, it can be kind of like, nails on a chalkboard, right? For ourselves. It goes against our integrity. And so when we have, our integrity is kind of made up of those core values, the things that we value the most. And a boundary promotes that. So it's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. It promotes the integrity that you have. So some things that are boundaries, just for a brief example, things like saying no, or something like deciding what is appropriate or what is not appropriate, what in your life is acceptable or not acceptable. Those are all boundaries. I like also to think of a boundary kind of like a cell in your body. There's a definite place where something ends and something else begins. And that is a boundary. Where you end in a relationship, where you end and where someone else begins, that is where the boundary line lies. And you decide what those boundaries are for you, and other people decide what they are for them. So when the boundary lines cross, or when there's an overstep on a boundary, that's when arguments occur and conflict often. And so you have to learn how to be flexible sometimes, because sometimes those boundaries, especially in relationships, it's so tricky and it can be kind of dicey sometimes. But you have to learn how to be flexible sometimes, and at other times learn to be very rigid, depending on what the boundary is. So, also, along with boundaries, choose wisely what boundaries you set, because they will often define the course of your life, depending on the type of boundary it is. Boundaries keep you and others around you safe and feeling secure. Because if you have, or at least healthy boundaries, if you have loose boundaries, then a lot of problems can come from that. A lot of relationship problems, and even that's where toxic relationships happen. That's where narcissism happens, or can happen. So it's important to have healthy boundaries. There's a lot of information online, and I'll probably do a video coming up about healthy boundaries and what those can look like. But for now, you can Google lots of things and see for yourself what works for you in your life. And I hope that you do that so that you can start building some healthy boundaries and getting on a good path that you want to be on and being with the people that you want to be with. So, hope this video helped you, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.